with a map of where some of the services were still running earlier, but there has been widespread disruption for commuters, with only about 20% of services running on the lines that have been operational. The last trains for most long-distance services were this afternoon, with no service at all in any region tonight, and more disruption to come over the weekend. Our transport correspondent Katie Austin has the latest.
The only train carrying passengers in Great Yarmouth today was the Land train. Tourism businesses here have felt the impact of the series of strikes on the railway this summer. This area has been hit by repeated train drivers' walkouts and the national RMT strikes.
10% of our visitors visit Sea Life Great Yarmouth using the train. The COVID hit us, we were hoping that, we're coming out of it, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, it'd be smooth sailing for us. However, these extra hurdles are just more frustrations, to what could be a great year for us.
The station here is completely closed today, and there are signs up warning passengers there are no trains at all. Where services have been running around the country, they started later than normal and they finished earlier than usual. On some long-distance routes, the last train today set off mid-afternoon. From Glasgow to London Euston, major stations were quiet. In Norwich, some commuters and leisure travellers turned up to catch what trains there were.
I usually take the train at 7:05 because I start work at 8, but then today I have to take the train at 8 and obviously causes inconvenience end of the day.
So we're trying to get 4 kids to Gatwick today. We're leaving an hour and a half early just in case to give us a buffer.
40,000 members of the RMT union and 5,000 workers in the TSSA walked out today. They're demanding pay that reflects the higher cost of living and for jobs and conditions to be protected. Rail bosses insist they want to give a pay rise, but reforms are needed to afford it. Network Rail thinks the RMT should put the offer it rejected last month to its members.
I think the problem is that we've put a very good deal on the table that gives guarantee of jobs for everyone who wants it, that deals with a lot of the long-standing issues and is 8% pay rise over 2 years. But that hasn't been put to my stop. The RMT have refused to put that to a referendum, and that's the problem, because if they have a chance to vote on that, we believe they'd accept it.
The RMT argues the government is blocking train companies and Network Rail from making a reasonable offer.
There is a deal to be done. I spoke to a senior negotiator from Network Rail.
My fucking guy, Nick Lynch.
We've got a decent relationship
What a
with them.
geezer.
We could build a solution if we were allowed to. But at the minute, the politics of the Conservative Party leadership election, I fear, is stopping this dispute being resolved.
But the Department for Transport called on union leaders to work with industry to agree a deal to bring the railways into the 21st century. Another strike is planned for Saturday. Well, trains to and from Norwich stopped some hours ago. The station behind me is completely shut and there are no more trains running around Britain today. Saturday will see the 6th day of a national scale walkout in 2 months. No more dates have been announced, but the general tone we've been hearing today from key players who have been involved in negotiations is one of frustration, really, that still a breakthrough has not happened. And tomorrow, in separate disputes, strike action will cause severe disruption on the London Underground, Overground and on some bus routes.
Katie, many thanks.
Alright man, all praise be to Yahweh, Hashem Rashai, Hashem Rakak double honours to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who are well, and salutes to the Arkham who continues to push the word in truth and sincerity. That was just the BBC segment on the national rail strikes which we've got going on over here in the UK. And just a quick one, man. I ain't got much to say. You know what scripture comes to mind, man? A man shall desire to enter a city and shall not be able. This is the beginning of that prophecy, man. Obviously that leads into lockdowns of cities, not being able to leave, shutting off the ring major roads like M25 and things of that nature. But with the beginning stages of that is all of this, man. People can't get up and down the country unless you drive, and then there's also so many restrictions around driving, man. So we can clearly see how it's all happening, man. A man shall desire to enter a city and shall not be able, man. These strikes, people aren't happy about pay, cost of living going up, but wages aren't going up, man. The scriptures speak about in Ecclesiastes, the grinding shall cease, man. Because the workers are few and things of that nature. this is all it, man. Prophecy is playing out before our eyes, man. And here's that I'm out, man. Shalom.